Every morning when I wake up, before I exercise, I do my meditation.
Welcome to the Vault Podcast and Reviews, where music still matters. You can check out all our shows at YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic. Please rate, review, and most importantly, subscribe. Also, make sure to check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you like what we're doing and you'd like to contribute to help us keep the show going, check out patreon.com/thevault.
What's up, guys? It's Jessamine. I'm hanging out here tonight with Robbie D and Zan, the Vault. And
hey guys.
Tonight we're going to take a look at Josh Heinrichs' latest album, Good Vibes, which drops March 11th. So we were fortunate enough to get that pre-release glimpse into this new album from Josh. This is his first album in 3 years. I do believe this is a release on his own Ganja Records, which is the label that he and his wife Katie have been. They've basically been a really just a growing standard in indie reggae music as far as making it happen for other bands and with Josh's solo projects, since like 2001. Something that I wanted to point out real quick before we start talking about this is that every album that Josh has put out has been in the top 20, if not in the top 10, 5, or number 1 on iTunes or Amazon reggae charts, which I think is incredibly impressive considering that the man lives in Springfield, Missouri. I find that absolutely to be one of the coolest things ever. I mean, He has toured with Cass Haley, who, of course, was a finalist, I believe, in America's Got Talent, J-Bug, Mike Pinto, Tribal Seeds. He's been on stages with the likes of Iration, Fortunate Youth, The Green, Slightly Stupid. He's had, Junior Marvin, from Bob Marley and the Wailers band over to his house to play music and to play here in Springfield. He's also played with Marlon Asher, who kind of the famous song Ganja Farmer that's kind of become an anthem across reggae music. So looking at that, I was really excited to have the opportunity for us to get the chance to look at this album before it actually dropped.
I remember seeing, I think it was probably Josh Heinrichs, but he was probably with Ja Roots at the time, play with Woodbelly, which was Cass Haley's band, back at like a Bob Marley birthday bash at Remington's or something. But yeah, man, I mean, those guys always put on a great show, whether it's, Josh Heinrichs with Ja Roots back then or just Josh Heinrichs, solo. Because I've seen him play with a full band, I've seen him play with just an acoustic guitar in front of a small group, and it's always great. The guy always puts on an awesome show, that's for sure.
This is probably my first experience checking this guy out. Now, I will say that I randomly was like walking through downtown when I would see like Ja Roots playing somewhere. Mm-hmm. In fact, there was a restaurant downtown, Rasta Grill. Yeah, Rasta Grill.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing him play there, and it was cool, but I didn't know that was who this guy was. I mean, in fact, I don't mind reggae music. I like some of it, but I'll tell you, I'm not very knowledgeable about a lot of it. So I was excited to check this out, especially with it being a local artist, and for us being able to check out something that's not even available yet. I mean, this is a first for us. And Josh, hope you're listening. Thank you very much for letting us check this out. So,
for sure, thank you, Josh.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just to kind of kick it off, man, this album was great. It's definite, feel good music. It's hard to listen to it and be upset or like in a bad mood. You hear it and instantly want to almost just get up and kind of groove to it. It kind of snatches you up. It's got that reggae feel to it. You know what I mean? It's just a nice groove. I really enjoy that. And anytime any kind of music can make you feel like getting up and moving around, then it's doing its job.
One of the things that I love about all of Josh's albums, but something that I saw in this one in particular was in perhaps more of an organized sense. I looked at this album really as a combination of course, rising above negativity, finding love amidst hate, and then a lot of topics, obviously, of some social consciousness in nature. And I really like the way all of those elements work together. And that's looking at it, of course, from a lyrical standpoint, which, Zan, I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say on the musical end of it. But just from that lyrical standpoint, I love this album top to bottom, what it's saying. And whenever I use that term, that's saying with a capital S, not just the words on the page, but the message behind those words.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with you there. I mean, it's real positive all the way through. It's got a real positive message, which, when it comes to like rap and stuff, I really don't care for. That's not what I'm looking for in rap. But with reggae, it fits really well. And like you said, he's pushing a very good message here, pretty much through the whole album. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of interested to see what Zan had to say about it.
Well, I generally do not like any kind of positive music.
Right.
So, like, regardless of the style, it's not my thing. But you know what? You're right. I mean, you can't listen to this album and not when I was listening to it, it wasn't making me smile or anything, but it was just kind of like it just put off a good vibe. I mean, I don't, no pun intended.
Right.
Absolutely. I love it.
It is what it is. I mean, that's kind of what I got out of it. Now, jump back on you're talking about the lyrics. The vocals really, really stand out. I mean, to me, you get a lot of reggae music and a lot of sounding the same. This definitely a standout, from top to bottom. Not a lyric guy, not really paying attention to lyrics, except for the first song with Puff Herbs. I thought I was listening to Cottonmouth Kings for a minute, but it's a joke. But yeah, the vocal delivery, vocal tone, just amazing. Doesn't sound like anything else that I've heard in a lot of reggae music, because like I said, a lot of it starts sounding the same. And then musically, just again all over the place. Not your traditional plain reggae, the same beats, the same kind of guitar parts that you would come to expect. The songs have a different flow. Some of the songs don't even sound necessarily like reggae music. Some have like a kind of old school R&B feel to them. They're a lot
Absolutely.
slower. Just a really good mix overall, I think. What do you guys think of the music?
No, I completely agree. And like Walk Away, the beat is awesome with the keys. He switches it up on his vocals, so it's like especially there at the beginning, sings in a different tone and changes it. I mean, on that music, it's funny you say old school R&B, because I thought I could hear like John Legend or somebody like that singing on this as well. It's just kind of what made it, what popped into my head. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, I like how he switched it up. Like you said, it's very diverse. It's not just straight like traditional reggae like you would normally think of. He kind of switches it up, but keeps the roots and that same element to it.
That keyword roots in that, and that's a genre of reggae as far as looking at roots reggae specifically, and a lot of that you'll see focused more on the acoustic guitar, on the ukulele, as opposed to what's been very popular in the last 10, 15 years, 20 years probably at this point. I feel perhaps I'm older than I think I am in my head, but that whole kind of Cali reggae scene that was born out of bands like Sublime and 311. Slightly Stupid, looking at those where, those really, that Cali reggae sound where it has almost a ska feel to it blended with that reggae sound, and those things kind of put together. And Josh is doing something that I think is very different from that. It's complementary to it, and I think that's why you see him on bills, like Cali Roots, which is one of our country's, if not the country's largest reggae festival, and you see him playing these main stages because it is complementary, but it is absolutely not the same thing. And I think that's neat and gives him a different edge too, because as you can see on the album, he's working with a variety of artists. Were either of you guys familiar with Innovision on the first track, Make a Way?
No.
They're a fantastic band. They're a roots reggae band. They're out of Hawaii. They're from Maui. They've been around for 10 years or so, and they've been making really quality roots reggae music for a long time. And so that was I thought, just to kick that album off, a really neat feature, and also provided a nice starting point for the rest of the way the album was going to go musically. I loved that.
Yeah, and that was actually one of my favorite songs on the album was Make a Way. it's real good the whole way through. I mean, like I said, that was the first one to actually catch me. Like I said, I'd never heard of Innovision. Probably gonna check them out, but
please do.
Really
They're
enjoyed
excellent.
the song, for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see why this dude's albums are topping iTunes charts. I mean, in this genre, I can't, and I'm not well versed in it, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I can't say that I've heard, I've heard a lot of different reggae artists, and I can't say that I've heard somebody that has mixed different styles and put enough variety. I think really that's the key for me with any genre. If you put like a thrash band, or again, Robbie, we like to use that Cottonmouth Kings reference where it's just the same thing. It all starts sounding the same. This definitely has enough variety in it, and for me, not knowing a lot about reggae and then hearing this variety in a reggae album, I mean that stands out to me.
What do you guys think about that melodica with Ian Young on Like an Angel? That interesting instrument. If you guys picked that up at all.
Yeah, no, I did. I actually had down that it had a really interesting sound to it overall. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that.
Are you familiar with the? I love this instrument, and it's one that's really starting to make more of a presence, especially in this new reggae, Cali reggae scene. You can pick one up for $100 or less, and it's essentially, imagine a kazoo with keys. So you're actually blowing air through it. You play keys on it like a keyboard, and you can also attach essentially a hose to it, so you can still set it down on a table and blow air through it while you're standing above it. And Ian Young is an incredibly talented musician. He plays on his own. He also records a number of artists, and he also tours quite frequently, playing along with Tribal Seeds. And I loved that feature on this album as well. He has some of the most impressive dreads I've ever seen in my entire life as well.
Do you know what that instrument is called?
It is a melodica, is what it's called.
Melodica, huh? That's interesting. No, I didn't know what that was, and your description of it makes it sound really cool, like a guitar.
You buy one, Robbie.
Right?
Yeah.
Imagine, and it's literally an air guitar. It is.
An air guitar. That's pretty sweet.
They're sweet.
That is pretty cool. No, I didn't know what it was. Glad you explained it. Learn something new every day. Yeah, so I mean, as far as like my favorite songs on the album, I mean, Make a Way was excellent. Walk Away has to be my all-time favorite off of it, because like I said, I just really love the way he switches up vocals and the way he sings at the beginning. That old school R&B feel is excellent. You can't go wrong with that, especially mixed with reggae. I mean, I don't know, he makes it work really well.
My three would have to be Make a Way. Love that song. I love that song. I love its place in the album. I love everything about it. My second favorite would be Good Vibes, because that is straight love making music. That song, right. Oh my goodness, that gave me the feels. Oh, I listened to it and I had to listen to it again. I was driving my car. I was like, oh, I am digging this so much. It's so good. I came home, I jammed it that evening as well. It's been in my head since we've listened to it, and that's something that doesn't happen very often, especially considering how much I'm taking in all the time. So that song, it's always just grooving in my brain. It's been very good. And then my third favorite track would have to be High Grade, featuring Skill and Jaw, which that song is a classic Josh Heinrichs and Skill and Jaw tune. For those who may not be familiar with the history of those two fellas, they've been making music together for a number of years, and since Josh has been solo, they've done a lot of touring, recording together, shows together, performing together very closely, and I always enjoy what they put together, and especially Robbie mentioned this earlier from a live perspective. Robbie and I have gone to both Ja Roots shows and Josh Heinrich shows together and enjoyed those together, which is so cool. But those guys know how to put on a live performance. I mean, and everyone is sucked into it, and I love that. And everyone feels that positive energy. And I know that sounds, hippy dippy perhaps, but it's go to a show and tell me it's not like that, because even if that's not your scene, you will feel that when you are there because he really envelops everybody with that. And that's something that I find so incredibly special just about a live performance, but also to hear an album that I really feel embodies all of those amazing elements of a community that he's really helped to build, and now is really, working for him as he's having some great success with his own music. And I'm pumped about this album.
and goes back to what you're saying there about seeing him live. I mean, that goes whether it's just like him with an acoustic guitar or him with a full band. I mean, either way you see him, it's captivating. It's impossible to go and not enjoy yourself. If you don't enjoy yourself, you're trying really, really hard to hate it. Like going out of your way.
It even worked for me with this album. I'm not even trying to, I love my downer, negative, angry music, but couldn't feel that way with this one. Nope.
No, you don't have a choice, man.
I love it.
No, it's a great album.
That's the power of music right there. Music still matters, and that's where it has power.
Yep.
The positivity overpowered me. I can't believe it.
Got him. One.
I find it interesting because my favorite songs you guys haven't named. I loved Home Again, Love and Humanity, and Puff Herbs. So between the three of us, once again, we've picked different songs and almost picked the entire album.
Yeah.
Right? That's awesome.
That's awesome.
There you go.
That's good stuff, kind of closing on in here, what'd you guys...
Hey,
as far as...
we got to go to negatives. You can't have it. You got to pick something, right?
You got to pick negatives. Let's hear it. What do you got on negatives, Zan?
Really, just that it's hard for me to grasp some of these songs just because it's not my style.
Yeah.
Other than that, from what I can hear, I don't dislike any of the songs. It's just that the style is not typically something that I'm going to listen to all the time.
Yeah.
But every single song is solid. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The whole thing is solid. I didn't have really anything negative to say about it. It's first off such a positive album. It's hard to be negative about it.
Oh man, the positivity is going to take over and make me give it a higher rating.
But no, I didn't really have much negative to say about it at all. I mean, I'm with you. I don't really typically listen to reggae. This is a little bit different than your typical reggae that you'd listen to, or that you would hear anyway. But overall, like I said, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I really enjoy this album and pretty much anything I've ever heard from this guy. So,
Jessamine, what do you got? And then you can give us your rating.
All right. Well, I'm going to take the complete cop-out way, and I'm going to say I wish there would have been 12 tracks instead of 10.
I hear you. I feel that way about a lot of albums. So.
I've heard Zane say that several times.
that's one thing that I thought, and that's it. Yeah, I can't. I had something else that I thought, but I think this album is so solid, really, and especially coming from, I've listened to Josh's music for a really long time, and so being familiar with his discography and seeing the growth and progression of this music, this is from my eyes, this is his best work to date. And because of that, and because this album I think is so solid from top to bottom, and because I am familiar with the entire live experience of this music, I'm gonna give this album 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars, nice. That's awesome.
Man, you guys, that's just gonna make you guys want to kick me off the show now.
Yeah, we're just taking over by Zan. It all averages out.
And I do. That's the thing. I've made full intent of being stingy with those, but to be really honest, whenever I look at it and say, okay, I love it. I love every track on it. I'm going to buy it in digital format. I'm going to buy it on physical CD, and then in June when he releases it on vinyl, I'm going to buy it on vinyl too. So I can't give something fewer than 5 stars if I'm going to do all of that with it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the vinyl. I knew I saw somewhere where that was going to come out on vinyl. I was like before I even listened to it, I was like, oh, I'm excited.
Yes.
So what'd you say? What was the date again?
I'm not sure on the specific date, but I know that vinyl is coming in June, JoshHeinrichs.com is where you can head. I believe that's the launch point for his merch site, and the pre-order for the album right now is available on Amazon.com, and then also on his website as well. And then the pre-order for the album will be up shortly. So it's not live yet, but it's coming soon.
All right, Robbie, what do you got?
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the album. Like you guys said, it's real solid. It's got, he switches it up. He doesn't keep the same repetitive thing over and over again. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought that was real fair. If you throw the live aspect in, I might bump it up to a 5. But just off of listening to this album, I would give it a 4.5. Absolutely.
Good call.
Bring it down, Zan.
Oh, it's not going to bring it down much. I gave it a 3 3/4. We're going to call it a 4.5 average between the three of us. I think that's about right.
Yeah, not too much gets that great of a rating, especially with 3 people now. That's awesome.
Well, again, it makes me sound like the downer of the group. I always give 100% honesty on all the reviews we do, and the only negative is that, again, it's not something that I listen to all the time, so some of the stuff doesn't grab me like some of the bluesier stuff. Robbie, me and you talk about Robin Trower quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about when I tell you about that. Hit me in the soul with those riffs and stuff. So that's really the only negative, which I can't give it. I almost gave it a 4. I was close. Before you guys even said anything, I was like, man, I don't know. I had to really think about it. But once again, Josh, I hope you're listening to this, and thank you again immensely for letting us check this out ahead of time. And hopefully people listen to this average of a 4.5, and they're going to go buy it. So looking forward to the vinyl for sure.
Absolutely.
Anything else you guys got before we close out?
No, man. Just when this album comes out, March 11th, definitely check it out. It's worth a listen multiple times through. So make sure you do that.
And look in the comments section. I will have posted links to his website where you can check all this out. So, Jessamine, anything else?
If you check out Josh Heinrichs on YouTube, he always is posting new content. I believe there is an official music video for Puff Herbs that is.
Oh, there
right
is.
now.
I watched it already.
Oh, really? Nice. I'll check that out. I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for checking out the review, everybody. Make sure you go check out this album. Like I said, information will be in the comments. Definitely go pre-order. Until next time, see you later.